I heard if you're taking a photo, like a portrait of yourself, you're supposed to flex your nostrils.
Flex your nostrils.
You know, like...
Like expand them?
Yeah, because look at my nose. You see, my nose looks nice. But then it's like...
So are people, it's just us giving a presentation to nobody? Okay, good.
Nobody's gonna hop in in here? Yep.
Dude, how bad?
Everyone?
No one there.
You should put that on your
no
story.
2 people, Rick and the future team.
All right, we should
All
be...
right, are we live? Are we
there
live?
We go.
Are we live? There we go.
Renee.
Let's do... Yes, good.
Oh, we got
here
people.
we go.
Oh, that's awesome.
People are filtering in.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Oh,
turn off your phone, dude.
Oh, God. First time doing this.
What's going
We're sorry.
on, everybody?
We're sorry.
Okay.
Jonah, no looking at your phone the entire time, all right?
All right, I'll try not to. No live stream right here.
Alrighty. Hello. Hi, guys. What's going on?
Where are you guys from?
Yeah, so drop a little comment. See where you guys are from.
We're from LA.
Mexico City. I've never been there.
Mexico.
Guatemala. South Carolina.
Any Texans?
Brazil. Oh, we got some Hispanics in the house. Good.
We sure do.
Canada.
Damn, all over
Argentina.
the
Muy
Holy
bien.
moly.
Rosario? Never heard of that.
How's everybody
I guess
doing?
that's
We are going to let some people filter in, and then we're going to get started pretty soon. We just want to give everybody a chance to come on in and join this awesome webinar that's about to happen.
Oh.
First one ever for us. So
place. Big time.
not nervous at all.
Yeah, so if we stumble, just we're going to just go with the flow.
Lay into us hard like Chris would.
Yeah, be really mean.
Because if this doesn't go well, they'll never let us do it again.
That's true. Canada's here. What's
Blessing
up,
in
Canada?
disguise.
So let them know that we did well.
Sunnyvale?
Before.
I don't know.
Trailer park?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No.
Different? California.
Oh,
no, he said no.
You got to hold that.
Why the glasses? Why the glasses, Richard?
I always wear my glasses. It's super bright in here, and I even wear them when I edit, so I just always wear my sunglasses.
He just jacked Casey Neistat, basically.
No,
That
it's
trend is over, buddy.
No, it's super bright everywhere, man. I get migraines.
I'm not giving
That's
you
it.
shit. I don't want to give you
That's
shit.
a good reason.
I think
I
I
never
don't think
knew.
you can put it down, man.
I never
Can
knew
you
that was the
pronounce
reason.
my name? Sasportas. There you go.
There we go.
Because it's bright, really? Yep.
Yeah, there's a light right there, man.
There's a big
I didn't
ass
realize
light.
the booth could fit so many people. Yeah, we
Oh, it
made some
can.
minor adjustments. Jonah over here tweaked some stuff, changed lenses.
Yep. Blind has merchandise. Sure, or it used
I think
to.
I
Used
think
to.
it's I think you can still buy it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can. If you're interested, DM me on my Instagram. No. I'm
Use
just kidding.
promo code Aaron.
Doesn't
Just
work.
kidding. That's a joke.
Don't do
it'll
it.
add $5 to
Yeah.
your cost.
Hello from Texas.
Ooh.
Hey,
from
hello.
Texas.
What's
Texas is
up,
here.
Jeff, my boy? Where are you from?
Texas.
What city? What city?
He says, Houston, you're going to flip.
How do we sound, everybody?
Oh,
my God, dude!
My lord! Hell
Houston,
yeah.
Texas. Is everybody from Houston? Is there anywhere else you can
I'm
be
from
from
Texas, but living in Guatemala. Oh wow!
You're still texting Daniela? Shout out.
Shout out.
Guatemala.
My people from Texas, Daniela and Jeff.
Trailer Park winner
here,
here.
Alabama.
Cheers.
What's going on, buddy?
That's awesome.
San Francisco, San Fran.
Dope.
What do they call it?
Bay Area.
They don't like
San Fran. Yeah,
Or
you're not
SF.
supposed to. Not supposed
What
to.
do they
Do they-
like?
Do they say San Francisco all the time?
I think they say SF.
Oh, really?
I think
That's
that's.
what
I
they
think
like.
that's what
SF.
Emily told
That
me.
sounds so good. SF, is that what they say?
Philippines, Quebec. Thanks to the future, I got a full-time graphics.
Hell
Hey,
yeah.
woo! Let's do it.
Good shit, Tanya.
That's dope. Las Vegas, but
Working
we're-
Redondo
Hey,
Beach.
that's
Hey.
close.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's my hood, man. Redondo Beach.
You know, by your house.
It's not that close. Redondo.
No, we know.
Is it time to start the show?
I'd say it's 5 minutes.
We're at 29, a whopping 29.
Doesn't matter. We're gonna. I think we can. What do you guys think?
Let's give it.
2 more.
two more minutes.
Yeah, let's give it a soft 2.
We don't want to start the show.
We're putting it off. This is a high stress environment. There's a lot of pressure from outside groups trying to make this.
I just wanted to show you. Oh, show them. This is my notebook where I prepared everything. So you're in good
That's
hands.
where it all
here.
happens.
Mine's
This is
all
where
up
it
here,
happens.
guys.
Oh, my
So
Lord.
nobody worry. Nobody worry.
We got to remember to look there,
Yes.
not
Yep.
there.
Yes.
I told you we'd be looking here all the time.
No,
we
'cause-
should
no,
just
'cause it's
kill
gonna-
the brightness.
No, because we're gonna go here.
We're going to hit play.
All
and
right.
then we're
So
gonna
you know
leave.
what? Let's just get it started.
Let's go.
What's the
All right.
plan for
Let's
today?
go. Let's go.
So how do we show this?
I'm kicking it off, right? That's
So
what
we're gonna do it.
All right, so I'm gonna share the screen right now.
So we prepared a deck. Jonah prepared a deck
Yes.
because that's how we've been taught to do these things.
Give it to Jonah. All right, so they should be seeing.
What's the plan for today? Okay, so we're going to do...
Wait.
There we go. Okay, sweet. We can still see this.
Perfect. All right.
So basically, this is our first webinar, and it all started because Ben suggested we should do a webinar. No particular reason. We just wanted to kind of pull the curtain back and show you what it's like here at the Futur from our perspective, the crew. And so we thought we'd just answer a couple questions. And yeah, so what's the agenda for today?
I'm glad you asked, Aaron.
Good.
So the agenda. Well, what a flop.
There we go.
All right, there. Off to a great start. So first off, we're gonna talk about our stories and how
Real
we
quick.
got here. Real quick. And then we're gonna get to the audience questions that we've. All right, try not to move them.
Sorry.
Oh, lost my train of thought.
We're gonna get into our story.
Our stories
stories
not
first.
too much, real quick.
Not too much. Then we're gonna get to the audience questions that we got from Instagram from y'all. If y'all submitted any questions on Instagram or Facebook, and then we're gonna ask that y'all give us questions if y'all have any.
So yeah, so in the chat down below, if you guys have any questions that we haven't answered or that you think that weren't asked, drop them down. And at the end, if you guys have any good ones that we haven't answered, we'll take a look. We'll give you guys a shout out and we'll answer it on the air.
All right, so let's jump into it. Story time.
So
Ricky,
story time.
Take it away.
Oh. So don't worry about that. So our story. So okay, I'm gonna get into how I got here. So about a year ago, I was in film school in Michigan, and I was just coming up on senior year, and I was just a broke college student, not really sure what I was gonna do when I graduated in April. And I had been watching a lot of videos on the internet, and I had been watching a lot of the Futur's content, and I really liked what they were producing. So throughout the last quarter of my senior year, I decided to make a video kind of for me, just kind of highlighting the things that I really like. And what I did was I ended up sending that video and an application to Blind and a few other companies that I wanted to work for. And I went for a run one day, and it was midway through my run that I got an email from Matthew, and he said, "Hey, can you jump on a Skype call? We'd like to interview you." And I was like 3 or 4 miles from my house, so I had to book it back to my house, kind of calm down, try to like regain my composure, and
So
like
you're all sweaty.
I was freaking out.
Oh
man.
my god.
So like right before like this intense interview, I was like having to like calm down, and the interview went really well, and Matthew had offered me a job. So I drive out to California, this long 36-hour drive. I like made a whole trip out of it, and I started interning here, and then 3 months later they asked me to stay on as a freelancer, and then 3 months after that, January 1st, they asked me to stay full-time staff, and that's kind of my story right now.
Great story. Loved it. It was short, punchy.
Loved
Great.
it. Every
Thank
minute
you.
of it.
Thank you.
So who's next? Jonah, you want to go?
Oh, I was thinking you, Mr. Aaron.
Well, I guess I could do that. Okay, so let me see here. So me and Ricky maybe have slightly similar stories. I was also just out of college. I graduated as a finance major. And I was just at home, and I was just hanging out with my girlfriend, going to the beach, not doing anything, because I didn't want to get a job as finance, whatever, because that was boring. And so I kind of just wanted to do something, and I've always liked film, so I just decided I was going to do that, and I started freelancing a bit. One thing led to another, and I met Jose Caballer, Christo's old partner, and he was starting the school with Chris back then. It was just starting up, and I guess he kind of liked my vibe. And he got me an interview with Christo. And so I came in, I interviewed, and that's when I started working here. I didn't get a job right away. They just kind of let me hang out here, and they didn't pay me. And they paid for my lunch, which was enough for me because I just wanted something to do, somewhere to hang out, learn some new things. And then now, 4 years later, I'm here.
Futur's #1 employee.
Yes.
Number
Oh, yeah, I
one.
forgot to mention that. #1 employee.
So the very first Futur employee.
The first
Also, somebody asked how old we were. I'm 26,
I'm 29.
I'm 24.
and with that, Jonah, why don't you tell us how you came here?
Yeah, so I graduated high school not knowing what I was going to do. I went into business management, and then after that, I still had no idea what to do. I changed majors a couple of times, nursing, mechanical engineer. What are you doing here?
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good, you're
Jeez,
good.
man, I want you to throw him off a little more.
Man.
No, but anyways, yeah, and then I took a break from school. I was done with school, or done with not learning something that I wanted to do. So then during that break, I started making videos. I ripped off Casey Neistat, made like a shot for shot, like same music, same everything, video like that. And then someone told me, like, why don't you go to school for this? I didn't, like, at the time, I didn't think I could do that. Like, just become a full-time video creator or work with videos. Like, growing up, it was always, like, become something stable, like a lawyer, engineer, something like that. But then I went to school, decided to go to school full-time for film. And then nearing graduation, I was looking at jobs. I had no idea what the hell I was going to do. And then I see a tweet saying that, oh, Blind is hiring interns for video editors. So I applied to that, don't hear nothing back for a while. And then turns out Ben and Matthew are coming to Houston for a client that they're dealing with there. And they are having a meetup. So I went to the meetup. I told them I was like interviewing. All right, sent an application in, and they were like, oh, cool, like we'll get back to you soon. And I made a recap video of the meetup, sent that to them like for Instagram stories, and they were impressed by it. And they just like expedited my application, and I got to interview them the following week. And yeah, interned, and 2 weeks after graduating, I moved out here, and then turned freelance 3 months later, and then now I'm about to go full time.
So yeah, it's all sort of similar paths, but we're all here now. So that's kind of our story. So now we're gonna get into the questions that you guys asked. We got a bunch from email, a bunch from Instagram, and a bunch from Facebook. So if you guys are looking how to do that next time, that's how we got our questions. So the first question was, please share with us your top 3 learnings at the Futur. So when I first read this question, I thought I would automatically have an answer, and it actually proved to be a lot harder than I thought. So I had to sit back, kind of collect my thoughts, because we're constantly inundated with information all day, all the time. And that's kind of why I have a notebook similar to Aaron and a pen on me at all times. So if anybody's talking in the room and they say something profound, I write it down.
Which is a lot.
It's just a lot. So You can imagine that working here at the Futur has a lot of those opportunities. So the first one for me was Saturday, 2 a.m., the client calls you. Do you pick up your phone? And that basically means like you should be charging the client so that if they call you at Saturday at 2 a.m., you are thrilled to answer that call. Always make sure that you want to give value and make sure that you charge for that. So that was like one of the first takeaways that I got. The second one was being indispensable. So making sure that it's pretty hard to replace you. Always doing above and beyond everything that's asked of you, always trying to give value, always trying to be helpful is something that's really important to me. And so if your name comes up in a meeting in a negative way, they go, we can't get rid of Ricky. We need him because we do all these things with him. And then the third one is this new topic that is hard for me to talk about, which is stop caring what other people think. Working on the internet is tough because you are open to criticism, and this is a new territory for me. So I have to learn how to be okay with criticism from people on the internet. So this is a real new thing for me, but hopefully I can get around hearing criticism and not being too sensitive about it. So those are my 3 takeaways so far, is the Saturday 2 a.m. rule, being indispensable, and not caring what other people think.
That was very tight and professional. I don't want to go after that. You
All
want
right.
to go?
All right, I'll step in.
Go ahead.
So the first thing, or top of my, am I
can
blacking? Am I
switch.
blacking?
Dude,
Am I blacking?
it's okay.
All right. So first thing that Chris had talked about in his talk at AIGA, and he said, don't say you can't do something, add yet to the end of it. So like, yeah, I can't learn, or I can't edit. Yeah. It's just like an affirmation that just because you can't do it right now doesn't mean you won't be able to do it later. And that was the first one. Oof.
You just said the first one.
Yep.
Second one
is small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equals a radical change. So what do I mean by that? So let's say you decide to cut out 100 calories, like from your meal or from your day-to-day, every day. In a week, it won't seem like much, but then let's say a year and a half, you're going to lose 33 pounds.
Wow.
And that's just like crazy. It's from a book he recommended to us called The Compound Effect. And yeah, I've been reading that. The next thing was from Bronnyware. She was a nurse at a retirement home.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was working with a lot of people that were much older, like they were near their end of their days. And she would ask them, like, what are their top 5 regrets in life? And this was one that came up the most. This was the most said one. And it is, I wish I would have had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me.
That's good.
Yeah, love that one. And it just, like, helps me in my day-to-day, like, don't live for others. Just trust your gut. Do what's right for you.
Could you maybe give us like a... That was great, by the way.
Oh, thanks,
Sorry, I was
sir.
about to jump in. It got me so excited. What's like an example around here where you remember that quote and you like did something differently as a result of like, oh yeah, you know what? That quote, so I'm going to do this instead.
I don't know if it's here in the day-to-day, but, like, do what makes me happy. So, like, or like I said in my story, like, going to school, like, what my mom wanted me to do. She wanted me to become an engineer because it was more stable. But I wanted to pursue video. I decided that was the best thing for me. I didn't want to live for her. And, yeah, just like that.
Okay, good example.
All right, Aaron.
Okay, so my 3 learnings. It's hard to narrow down to 3, and I feel like I've learned so much being here, just even in just like a personal development sort of way too, just from hanging out with Chris. So it's kind of hard to nail it down to 3, but I mean, the ones that stand out to me most are like, done is better than perfect.
Oh, for sure.
Something Chris says all the time.
I
Because
have a hard time with that one.
so do I, even still now that I've been told that so many times. But like, done is better than perfect was really like impacted me because, I mean, it that's how you like get things done, because it's never going to be great, especially because we're just kind of starting out with making videos. So it's never going to be great. So you just got to do something, because something's better than nothing. And like, hold on, done is better than perfect. Hold on, I had a good story for this. I'm drawing a blank now. You want to fill in a little dead air for me?
Well, we could move
what
on
was
if you want to think about it for a little bit.
Done is better than perfect.
Done is
I like
better
that
than
one.
perfect.
That's what I try to do now more because, like,
I got it.
all right, go for it.
No, you had a thing
no.
though? Just filling in? Okay. So like, every day I want to be productive. I have these big goals that I want to be like a filmmaker, or I want to like be this real estate mogul, like some big real estate mogul. And like, it's a super daunting goal because I'm like, where do I even start? How do you even start on your big goal? And like, is reading this one article going to get me there? Probably not. But like, so I don't think about that. I don't think about 10 years down the road, whatever. Just today, 3 things I can do today. Like, and then I'll just knock them out. Maybe I'll only do 1, but at least today was a productive day, and I just take it one day at a time. And so that's the one thing I learned. Another thing. Should I do another one? That was a long one, dude.
We'll do. I mean, mine kind of were long and short. Do you have
Okay.
another one?
Quick ones.
Quick one. Okay. What's another one? Another one Chris always says is, I don't want to do the ask better questions, but ask better questions, because that's how you like raise your value in any kind of situation or scenario, whether you're just talking to like someone you're on a date with, or if it's like a new business client or someone you want to impress. It's all in the questions you ask them, because that kind of says where your brain's at and what you're thinking about. And so we kind of have this game where like, I know people are doing this, like Chris's little son, he comes in and he's this cute little guy, Matthias. And sometimes he'll just be like, he'll come up to you and he'll ask you like rapid fire, like 4 questions back to back.
Grilling you.
It grills, yeah,
Jesus.
it's like he's grilling you, and you start to sweat because I don't know the answer to these questions. But like, he's like 6 years old, but he seems like he's like 30 because he seems very smart.
He's 12.
He's 12, yeah. So,
But yeah.
I think what Chris said, you're only as valuable as the questions you ask.
That's good.
yeah.
I think you guys need to scooch down a little bit. All right, Aaron, one more.
One more. You're as valuable as the questions you ask. Fudge, dude. I'm just nervous and I can't get my brain here.
Yeah, we're
thinking,
nervous. Well, I'm nervous.
I'm okay.
You're nervous?
I'm okay.
It's just,
I'm like
I
easing
feel all
into
right.
it.
I feel all right.
I just feel like my brain is just, I can't grab onto things, dude.
It's okay. We'll
All
move
right,
on.
We'll move on.
We'll
I'll
move
come
on.
back to it maybe.
One more.
All right. So we have a question here. It says, how do you know that the path you take is going to be the right path? Now, I have a strong feeling on this one, so I'm just going to start. I think that once you choose something, I tend to think of myself as a pretty decisive person and opinionated. And so once you make a decision, that's the decision. Anytime thinking about whether if it's right or whether it's not right is distracting you from making that path the right one. David Mamet has a quote, and it talks about don't give yourself a plan B because you'll invariably fall back on it. So if you only give yourself a plan A, you will make that one work because it's the only plan you've given yourself. So that's kind of how I take this path question is choose one thing, stick to it, and you will make it work because that's the only path you've chosen.
Let me piggyback off that. So like when I was in school, like graduating, nearing graduation, the career advisor, she asked me like, what's your first option of the company you want to work for? And we'll try to make it happen or help you out. So I put down the future, and I didn't write down the second option, even though like it said, give me a second option. And she's like, what's your backup plan? Like if you don't get to work there, like that's in California, I'm from Houston. So what are you going to do? And then I told her that exact same thing. Like if you have a plan B, you're going to eventually fall back on that. And thankfully I didn't, or everything worked out. And I'm here and yeah. So, but how do you know what path is going to be the right path? I think if you trust your gut, whatever feels right to you, that's going to be the right one.
That's again, I was arguing with Ricky a little bit because I feel like if you just pick a path and you just put your blinders on and you're just only trying to do that, I feel like you're not seeing all the opportunities that are out there. You might miss an opportunity. So I don't know. I feel like the best way for me, what I do is I don't try to look 10 years from now because I don't know what's going to happen. Some good opportunity comes my way. I don't know. So maybe I'll do real estate. Maybe I'll become an actor. Maybe I'll be a cinematographer. Maybe I'm an editor. So many things. So like I just try to look at it one day at a time. Like just try to move yourself forward one day at a time. And Chris always says this. It's like be binary. And that's really helped me out because my mind is all over the place. So like when I wrangle it down to like, is this thing you're going to do now, is it going to help you or is it going to hurt you from achieving your goal? That's like easy. Like should I get high and go eat some food right now? That's not going to help me. Or should I listen to this podcast about real estate? That sounds like it might help me. So I'll do that. And just super simple like that. Make every day count. That's it.
All right. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
I thought of my other thing.
Okay,
Can I mention it?
Go ahead.
So one thing here, when I first started working here, they would assign me a video, I'd edit it, and then they'd come give me feedback. And every time they gave me feedback, I'd just get really like sad and upset and like, you guys don't like my edit and they want me to change it. And it's just this emotional roller coaster. And like, it took me a while to realize how to take feedback, which I think is a great thing that I learned here.
For sure.
Because it's like, what Chris suggested to me is like, once you make the edit, once you make the design, it's just the design. It's not my design. It's not like you're talking about me and saying I suck. It's the work. And then we're both trying to improve it. So then I started, instead of dreading the feedback, I would like really look forward to it. Because in that moment when they gave me the feedback, that's when I'm getting better. That's when I'm leveling up. And so that was you guys got something there? Or?
No, disattaching yourself from the work. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
You guys summed it up well. All right, next question is, why did you guys choose to work there versus starting a company or freelancing? What influenced it? That's a really great question. I feel like a lot of people in this industry are freelancing, but for me, the way I grew up, I didn't grow up with a lot of structure as a child. So as an adult now, I kind of crave it. I love routine. So that kind of manifests its way in a salary job, 10 to 7. I know Monday through Friday where I'm going, and there's not a lot of extra brain power devoted to like trying to figure out how to go to another company. And so that was kind of my reasoning. I don't even think contemplated for 1 second trying to shop around. From day one, I wanted to be full-time here because I like stability.
Good answer. I would say that's a great answer. I like stability too, and that's the main reason I decided to work here. I kind of stumbled into this job. I didn't know, like when I first started here, I didn't even get paid. So I didn't think it was going to last.
Well, because it was like the first day, so like they were like a startup. It's not like they didn't want to pay you.
Literally, they had just decided to like, we should do this thing called the Future. Back then it was called the school. And then they're like, we need some help to do the grunt work. So let's get this guy that looks like a pretty cool guy. That's me. And so, but like, why did you guys choose to work there versus starting a company? So starting a company, that's like, I mean, I wouldn't even know how to do that. So that one's out. But freelancing, what influenced it? For me, what made me want to stay here, I guess, and stay here long term is like, I just like the vibe here. I feel like Chris is really invested in like helping us grow. and learning new things. And I just feel like I learn new things from him and the other people in this building, like Matthew and Ben. I just learn from them all the time. And so even though maybe we don't get paid all that much money, or there might be better opportunities out there, but I just like the people here and I learn from them, and it's like a good little team we got going. And so I just don't want that to end, you know?
Yeah, I think what the value we get offered here, like being around all these like crazy smart people, outweighs for me what the value I would get freelancing. So I first got the internship because I was moving to California, a new city. I wanted to have something stable. But then I would just like dip or start freelancing once I've saved enough money. But then like being around like these guys, like, god damn, I'm learning so much here than I ever would freelancing.
At first, me and Ricky had this joke, like, this guy's got one foot out the door. Like, he's, like, looking for other gigs. Like, it was like, does he want to stick around? And I don't know. That kind of hurt a little bit. Like, oh, you don't like our family? You don't like our crew? You're trying to dip?
What are you talking about? Fine. I like the family.
Right.
Like
yeah,
now
he's
gonna be a family member.
Okay, sorry to throw you under the bus.
All right, so moving on. The next question is, have you guys been influenced by working in a design environment? Because we are video creators at the end of the day, working with pretty much all design people. So
yeah, for the most part.
It's definitely a different environment. Aaron, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so when I first started here, it just opened my eyes up to a whole nother world, and there's just a list of things that people care about that I never even thought was a thing people cared about, like any kind of words written on anything. Like, okay, the best example for me was when I heard Chris and Matthew talking about the main title sequence for Seven, the movie Seven, and I was like, the main title sequence, I didn't even know what that was. And then they started talking about how it's like who made it, there's a designer tied to it, and he won like this design. And for me, that part of the movie is like the part you fast forward through, like the intro sequence. But then for them, that's like this big thing. So it just made me look at things, I don't know, it made me look at things with more intent. Yeah, like it just, anything I look at, I'm looking at the design, the way it strikes me, the way it makes me feel, the way it's put together. It just like, it's like I can see the Matrix now, if that makes any sense.
No, that's really good. That's a great question, Joseph, asking this basically. Have you been a freelancer? Are you freelancing now? If yes, how long? So I think there are certain opportunities that are presented to us by working here. People will sometimes ask us for videos, ask us to help out on shoots, and it's kind of our obligation to manage, just like an adult would, your extracurricular activities after Friday at 7 o'clock and trying to balance that with your Monday through Friday here. So Chris kind of welcomes the idea that people are pursuing other goals and,
yeah, for sure,
and like welcoming that kind of thing to like help you get more knowledge than just this job. But it's kind of few and far between for me, like I said. So I really cherish my free time now because I've invested a lot of time into this company. So when I get free time, I try to unplug, go to the beach, relax. So I'm not super into freelancing and making as much money as possible right now. I'm more into investing into this company. So that's kind of my answer for that.
Yeah. There was something Chris was talking about where like what you do with your free time says who you are.
Yeah.
So this guy likes to hang out at the beach and drink beers. It's just that's who he is.
I guess.
No, but
that's
I
what
feel
you
like as you were talking, I was starting to feel a little anxious inside because you're like putting all your eggs into this basket. You're not freelancing anymore. Just seems like, I don't know. It's good to have a side hustle. I feel like that's what's missing from my life. I'm very invested here at this company, and there's some days where I feel like I didn't do a good job or someone's not happy with me, and I'm like, oh well, I have something to fall back on. No, I don't have anything to fall back on. It's this job or I'm like homeless. So that's kind of stressful. So,
but don't you worry that if you were to spend like the plan B, that's plan B. That's why I'm not trying to like go
face tattoo. I'm
So there's a story of this NFL player who got a face tattoo because he didn't want to get, he knew if he gets a face tattoo, he can't get a regular job. He has to make the NFL work. So he gets the face tattoo, knows that nobody will hire him, but the NFL will hire him, so he makes that work.
He's all in.
He's all in.
So and that's what we're trying to do.
That's kind of what I am here. Like, if it were to happen, it would happen, but I'm not going to let it happen.
Or else we'd be like Jona, one foot out the door. You know, not part of the team, you know?
Still out the door.
I think...
Now it's making its way back out.
So I have been a freelancer, but I didn't like it. I like stability.
So my answer is I have been a freelancer, but I should go back to it because I want to have a backup plan. Yikes.
Ooh,
That sounds
that
bad. I gotta
contradicts
think on
everything
this
we
more.
said.
I gotta think more on this.
All right, so I was a freelancer while I was in school, so for like 2-3 years. And yeah, that answers that question, but like that segues greatly into our next one. Should I get a job or freelance while going to school?
Well, let's read that carefully. Should I get a job or freelance? So it's a job or freelance
While going to school.
while going to school. So he's in school.
Yeah.
And he's looking for that extra thing to do. Should it be a job or should it be a freelance?
So like I think of job in this context, like should I be a waiter? Should I like do a college job where like I can make some money? Or should I go into like entry level position at a design studio while I'm studying to be a graphic designer? That's kind of how I read this question.
So given the option of a job at a cafe or whatever simple entry level job or freelancing as part of like a design freelance job, what would you pick?
I would choose the job and school. So now I just because I think that if you're trying to do school plus a job, that seems counterintuitive to me because you should be going to school and collaborating and networking with your friends.
Focus on school and getting the most out of it.
Exactly. You're only there for a finite time. Try to soak it up. There's many, many years for you to be in an office and many summers of you to freelance and try to get a design job. But like, there's a finite amount of time for you to be there with your friends at this weird, awkward point in your life, and you should just focus on that and then try to get a job so you're like, you know how to treat a waiter in the future, basically.
I would say that just because I know what Chris would say to this. I think this is what Chris would say is that if you're going to go to school, give it 150% and stay after and get to know your teachers and just do everything you can to get the most out of school because it's expensive and you want to get the most out of it. So that's what Chris would say.
Mm-hmm. Jonah, you got anything?
For me, I have a different opinion about it. I would freelance while going to school. I did, and I learned more while freelancing than actually going to school. Like one of my professors, he said, "You're not paying for the school; you're paying for the network."
Mm-hmm.
And the network is what got me hired to like freelance most gigs that I've gotten. I meet the people that I've done or I've met.
Like outside of school?
Yeah. But yeah, that answers that.
Okay.
So basically freelance
I would say
would
freelance.
be the way to go.
Yeah, freelance or intern. Yeah,
I disagree.
that's my.
What?
2 against 1, buddy.
2 against 1. All right, the next question is, what is it like having the great Christo watching your every move? Well, let's have you seen that scene in Star Wars where Darth Vader's got the guy? That's kind of what this is like. I would say
What's it like? You're new here, so you kind of
yeah.
know.
Well, it took a long time for me to be comfortable around Chris and just kind of exhale a little bit, kind of not feel that perpetual like pressure of somebody around you. And Chris is kind of this, intimidating guy, and it's just being able to be okay in your skin and knowing that what you're doing at the time is the right thing and not being insecure about that. So it's getting better as I stay here longer, but he's an intimidating guy.
Very intimidating.
Jonah, you're the newest. You're the
Yeah.
freshest. What's your take on it? I feel like
Oh, hella intimidating. I jump every time he fucking walks by my little cubicle
Yeah,
thing.
so
why?
Jonah will have his headphones in and Chris will walk by to like, hey, where's that edit? And he'll be like, oh my God.
like, god damn. Every time.
But why?
I don't know. I think it's just because, like, he's the boss.
Because he's a boss. Okay.
Yeah. Like, god damn it. I gotta make sure this is right. Like, Jesus. But yeah, I think it's good in a way where you want to make sure you're doing your best as well. Like, with everything, questions you ask.
You don't want to waste his time.
Yeah, exactly.
There is this, every time he comes around or he's close to you and talking to you, there is this, like, he vibrates at a very high frequency, I'd say. Like, he's doing a lot of things. He's got a lot of thoughts. He's moving fast. And so when you're close to him, you just feel that, and you're just like, oh, God, I can't waste this time. I can't even say a word that, like, I'm talking too much. I should shut up, you know? So, like, there is that. But I noticed when I first started working here, he would come by my desk and spend hours just, like, like, move that there, do that. You're wrong keyboard shortcut, like, just breathing down my neck. And he would get more and more agitated because I'm not doing it the right way. And then now, like, 3 years later, he never comes by. And then the way he kind of tells me what to do as an employee, employee relationship, or through casual conversations, he'll just be like, oh, we need that done. Are you working on that? All right, cool. So, like, it changes as you progress. But, like, I like having that kind of energy because he forces you. He, like, he's the pillar and he stands for improvement and getting better.
It's a great
when
pillar.
And you want that in your life, even though it stresses you out and it's like hard to deal with. It's really good for you. So thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Okay, next question is what challenges you most about being part of the Futur staff?
I think the challenge to become better, like with how like crazy, smart, and talented like the people that we're surrounded by are. It's a high bar to reach or strive for, but it's a good bar.
Yeah.
To, like,
So I mean, if you just take a look at our company, there's Chris, there's Ben, there's Matthew, there's Greg, and those are just the creative directors, and those guys operate at a crazy efficiency level and crazy success rate. And then there's me, 8 months out of film school, just trying to figure out my way in the world, and it's super intimidating sometimes, like I said earlier, but it's super inspiring too, because you know you're there for a reason, and they wouldn't have you there if they didn't like you and if you weren't valuable. So that's a challenging part. Another thing is that, like, I would say Jona's the newest here and I'm the second newest, and he's constantly raising the bar, so I have to make sure that I'm raising my bar so that I don't let him pass me in this kind of competitive nature a little bit, because I don't want to get passed by anybody. I don't want to be looked at down upon by anybody, kind of, so to say. So it's super good because he's trying to improve himself, which means I don't want to get left behind, so I'm trying to improve myself.
There is this culture here about constantly improving, and I think Christo sets that. Matthew kind of sets it to Ben, to everybody. But like, so just being able to keep up with that, because for a guy like me, it's easy to just kind of clock in, clock out, just do the bare minimum, sort of. But that doesn't fly here, because you'll just get fired if you just do the same thing every day. So you got to constantly improve. So that's like the hardest thing, I think.
Yeah, I'd say like a good way to get fired is to be the same person you were 6 months ago.
Even if that same guy was pretty good,
yeah,
solid,
like just doing his work. But if you're the same person, like,
that won't
6
work.
months is an eternity here, so you have to constantly be improving.
And another thing is things change super quick. Like the direction of the company, since it's so small, and we're just very nimble. So like today your job is doing this kind of edit. Tomorrow it's doing something else completely different, and you got to be cool with that. That like the ground is always changing, and you got to just dance step all over the place and not slip through a crack.
Yep.
So yeah, okay, covered that, I think.
All right. Next is a somewhat popular question, which I'm gonna let Jona tackle because he is our live stream editor. So, Jona, take it away.
I sure am, Rick. Thank you for asking. So, live stream setup. What do we got? Wirecast. We use Wirecast predominantly here in the booth, and we use C100s, all that jazz.
If you guys have any like tech specs that you want,
We'll
like,
do a video about it. Break this all down.
It's a lot.
It's
to
a lot.
cover.
It's a lot, and it's changed over the years, and it's morphed. It's a beast. This thing is like the Millennium Falcon, but just more complicated.
It's so stressful. Oh
it's
my
very
God.
stressful. We call this the panic room, and the hot.
Can you see it? Can you see it?
So
Oh my God.
It's rather intense. But if you guys have like what camera do you use or something like that, just DM one of us. I'm sure we'd be happy.
Oh, yeah.
We'll make a
Yeah,
video.
let me know.
We'll make a video if a lot of people want to know.
There you go. That's a good
Our Instagram handles are at the bottom
Yes.
of the.
We'll cover that later. Come on,
Yeah.
let's keep it moving here, guys.
So the live stream setup is Wirecast.
So Wirecast is the software we use for in here, and like for on the go live streams, we use Sling Studio, and right there I can cut it on an iPad, and it's wireless, so you can just take the camera wherever you go. Just make sure you have like this thing called a camera link attached to it that it's able to communicate with the software we use.
Let's not get too jargony technical.
Yeah.
Right?
So we use Wirecast and we use Sling Studio.
Yeah.
I would say predominantly when we're in the booth here, it's going to be Wirecast, and when we're remote, like trying to at AIGA or something like that, it's most likely going to be Sling Studio, where it gives us a little more flexibility.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. This is an interesting
Moving
question.
right along.
How do you prioritize efficiency?
Efficiently.
Oh yeah,
All right,
that's right. Sorry, I can't
efficiently.
read. Sunglasses. How do you prioritize efficiently? How do you know that the task you're doing is the right one?
There is no right task if you're doing it.
I don't know if
There's no right path. There's no right path.
So-
there's no.
This is
right-
in the pet.
We
Okay,
have
let's
we,
go.
we have we,
Answer.
no, go ahead.
Who's
I
going
think
first?
it's whatever's needed at the time. So if we're low on content, I'm gonna prioritize like a video versus like, let's say, setting up a live stream or setting up for something else, whatever.
That's
But
the
I think
obvious
it's
one.
I think it's just what's needed for me.
So
Okay.
you just take the most needed thing at the time.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's kind of this.
Let's say there's nothing needed though, right?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that, but I would say there's always the creative directors are always kind of in the back of my head, like, should he be doing this? And if I answer yes, then I continue to do it. And if I answer no, then I try to wrap it up as quickly as possible so I can get back to maybe the thing that they say I should be doing. So if I'm doing something like a setup that's taking too long, I try to wrap it up as quickly as possible so I can get back to my edit. And that's kind of how I balance it, and just setting realistic expectations for how long things are going to take so that there's no miscommunication.
Good answer. I feel like I wish I could ask another like follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you prioritize efficiently? Like, obviously, do the most important pressing thing first. That's like the easy answer. But I'm thinking like, if you have this goal you're setting for yourself, and you're kind of like, there's no boss. It's just up to you to decide among the million things you could do that would get you to your goal, which one to do first, which one to do second. I mean, I'm probably maybe not the best guy to give advice on this. Maybe a guy like Matthew would be better suited for
Dude,
that.
Matthew knows
But
his
like
shit.
he does. He's good at prioritizing. But for me, what helps is kind of what I said earlier, where like it doesn't matter. You got a million different things. I don't know which one's more important. Just pick 3 of them and do them today. And maybe you only get 1 done. Okay, that's fine. But then every day you just pick 3 things and just do them. That's it. Don't focus on anything else. Which one's more important? Whatever. That's it.
Good. All right, let's move on to the next question.
Let's try to rapid fire.
Yeah,
this.
I was going to say that myself.
How long have we been going for? We got to wrap it up.
42 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm a graphic design student, have no portfolio. How much do I charge?
As much as you can, right?
As much as you can?
Christo it. 10 grand, $10,000. Ooh, couldn't even say it.
Practice saying it.
All right,
All right.
that's good. All right.
Is that all we're okay? So
Yeah.
we're gonna avoid that one because we don't know what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, I
Okay.
guess
That one's
so.
tough.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say.
Ricky, take it easy on the buttons here, man.
Let's just go. Let's go.
Like,
Rapid,
all
fire,
right,
rapid fire.
rapid fire.
All right, so somebody said that they love the Futures Instagram. Who runs your account? That's a great question.
Fantastic
so
question.
We want to give a shout out to
Elle.
Thank
Elle.
you.
So Elle set up this whole thing for us. She really
Yeah.
helped us out, and so we want to give some love to Elle. She was really helpful. So thank you, Elle.
Yeah, thank you, El.
She runs the Instagram, by the
So
way.
yeah, go
Yeah,
follow. That's
killer,
her. That's her
killer.
personal Instagram. So go give her a follow and say that we sent you and say thank you because we wouldn't be here without her.
Yeah.
Next one is, what is your process before shooting a video or
Ooh,
during
video
post?
stuff. You're talking to the right guys here. 'cause we
Ooh,
know
I do video on
Right place.
Okay,
the
so
side.
what is your process before shooting a video or during post?
Well, if it's a long form video here, I feel like the first thing we have to do is kind of sketch it out. So that means storyboarding it, writing a script, kind of getting a deck going, something that you can tangibly see and kind of move things around so that you can see if it flows or not, see if you need to take stuff out. This keynote is a good example. Like, we had questions in here and we're like, this one kind of goes with that one, let's delete it. So kind of having a system like that in place where you can remove before you start shooting is always a good way to start, I feel.
I got a good one, which is when I first started here, my process for shooting a video is I would just grab the camera and start shooting stuff. And then I would just look through all the footage and edit whatever I could make out of that. But that didn't work because all the videos were really bad. So then I'd use one of these and I just write little scene ideas on it. And then I just lay out every idea I have out. And then I kind of start taking away ones that don't seem to fit. And then I put them in order or bunch them together. And then that's a good way to start. With the sticky notes, write them down, block it out first.
Good. Jonah?
I would say pre-planning, shooting to edit, so you're not. It'll help in post a lot more. So
Shoot for the edit?
shoot for the edit.
All right.
Oh, wait, but shoot for the edit is like, it's easy to say, but like, that means like, to me what that means is like, when you hit record, it should not be longer than 10 seconds. If it's like a piece of B-roll, or like, don't let the thing roll for a long time. Act like it's like precious time, because you're going to have to look through it all, and you're probably not going to want to if it's super long.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
What's the other one? Oh, yeah, like think through your transitions. Like,
yeah.
we're all big Casey Neistat fans here, and the way he kind of just changes location and just like grabs a camera and what do you call those? Transitions.
Yeah.
They all
Transitions, yeah.
flow into one
They
another.
all flow into one another, and those don't happen on accident. I thought they maybe did, but they don't. So you got to like plan those out. That's it.
All right. Good. Now, what do you do when you just can't seem to concentrate? So this is a great question because I feel like in the creative space, it's hard for us to like sit down and just edit for 6 hours straight. One of the things here that helps me is we have a mandatory 5 o'clock break. So I'm in charge of music. I get the music going, turn up the music real loud, and just kind of get out of my seat. I walk around. I have a bouncy ball. I throw it up in the air, catch it, just to get my mind off of the computer screen really helps me if I have to sit back down and get back into the edit. And then also just kind of being a professional. Like, you have work to do, just do it. Don't worry about if you just focus on the screen and keep making cuts, it'll happen.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
That's true. I think Jocko said that, right? Like, we're big fans of Jocko too. If you don't know who Jocko is, we love that guy.
If you guys don't know who Jocko is,
sorry,
get out.
Anyways, he said something about this where it's like he was writing a book, and he wrote a book with another Navy SEAL guy that he's friends with. He's a Navy SEAL. Probably should have started with that. But him and his Navy SEAL buddy wrote a book, and he was like, some days I would sit down to write the book, and I wasn't feeling it. But he's like, I would just force myself to write it, and even if it sucked and it was no good and I just was grinding through it, it was getting done, and then I could look at it later and fine-tune it. So even if you're not feeling it, you can still do it. Just force yourself to do it. I don't really like that style of thinking so much. So what I do is I take a break every 20 minutes. And it's not a break like you think, like a long 20, 30-minute break. It's a quick little 2 to 5 minute break, and I just go outside and I run up and down the stairs, or I stretch every 20 minutes. And that also helps because when I come back from doing my stretch or my little mini workout for 2 minutes, I'm like, I only have 20 minutes to work, so I got to get something done. So I'm just like always like, I'm almost done working, so that's just kind of fucking trailed off there, dude.
Do you have anything else to add to that?
I think just taking a walk, like you said, like
just taking a break.
Yeah, taking a quick break.
Embrace distractions. All right, next questions. How can I participate in the next Young Guns series? Great question. So I'm helping produce that with Mark and Matthew. So just keep an eye open on the channel and on our Facebook. If we do it again, we're going to open up the casting to everybody, I believe, this time. So just keep a lookout for that. Get your portfolio right and get your talking to camera skills better than mine, because I'm sure we're going to ask you to speak to camera. So just get comfortable talking to camera and being vulnerable. That's what I'm going to say to that.
I did overhear, I'm not on the Young Guns thing, but I overheard some conversations when they were picking who was going to be on Young Guns, and they had a big selection of young people, and the ones they ended up picking were the ones that had the biggest personalities. The work was a secondary thing. Mm-hmm. So if your on-camera personality is good, that is probably going to help you.
That's a good point.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Be a big personality, because most people at the Young Guns level, they're all kind of somewhat close to each other as far as their ability to do graphic design. So what's going to set you apart is your personality. Mm-hmm. So that if you'll look coming up when we release the episodes, you're going to see some big personalities from some really interesting women. So that's the tip.
Good.
Next is tips on following up with a potential lead after an awkward hello.
Hold on, can we pause 1 sec? I just wanted to ask, is everybody still good and listening, or should we, is this too long? I don't know, I just want to check in with the people, right? It's good to check in.
So let us know in the comments right now if this is good, I guess.
They're saying keep it going.
Keep it
going? Okay.
We can wrap it up right now. I mean, this is no problem.
Still good?
We got 11 minutes.
All right.
Okay, go ahead. Take it away, man.
All right, so tips on following up with a potential lead after an awkward hello. I would just say embrace it. Just roll with it. Like, you're not going to get anything out of it if you're like, oh man, I can't call them again. That was too awkward. No, that's business. You have to put that aside and just power through it. And I would just say, just keep going.
Yeah.
I got a great one for this. Tips on following up. So after an awkward hello, this is something I learned from Chris, and he calls it the reality distortion field, which is that any kind of thought or feeling or emotion you have, it's not real. And you can just tell yourself, I feel this right now, and you will feel that. Or I think this, and you'll think that. So if you think you had an awkward hello, and what am I supposed to do? Say, it wasn't awkward. It was the coolest, smoothest hello ever. Mm-hmm. And just believe that, and then walk into the next engagement with them. And just when you have that energy that it was a cool hello last time, that's going to be great moving forward. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's good.
But if you feel like, oh, it was awkward and now I have to make it unawkward, you're going to be acting awkward, and it will be awkward. So it's like, you got to just kind of make your own destiny kind of thing, Even if it involves lying to yourself, just lie to yourself. Even if you know it was awkward, just say it wasn't awkward and just believe that.
That's good. I like that. Yep. All right, moving on. What's the first thing you do after you land your first client?
Fucking celebrate. Am I right?
Yeah.
Crack a beer and your buddies.
Yeah, make sure the check's in the mail. I don't know.
What's the first thing you do after you...
Okay.
So let's caveat this by saying we work here at the Futur, and we're employees, so we don't really do a lot of client engagement things.
Yeah, so with that caveat. But I make sure before anything is set in stone that, like, I've gotten the check first, and then I might be like, okay, now I have the job for sure. It's not like a mutual agreement, like, okay, I'll hire you. It's not until I get that check that Venmo, whatever it is, that I know I'm on the job. So I don't celebrate. I don't do any of that kind of stuff until I've gotten paid first.
Get that deposit.
Yep.
Let's do this, because we don't know how Chris would answer this, but this feels like it would be a good question, and I'm interested to know what Chris would say. So let's try to give it our best answer, and then we'll
Okay.
see what Chris... Whoever gets closest wins.
Okay,
Dude, I
what's
don't
the
know.
first
I'm
thing
out.
you do after you land your first client? I try to give them the most value and do my research.
Wait, so this is your new answer now that it's a game?
So I try to give them the most value and do all of the research before I even start designing. So if they ask for a logo, I just deep dive before I even touch my tablet. Just do all the
So-
research.
Mr. Klein, thank you very much. Well, it's going to be a pleasure working with you. Boom, hang up the phone. First thing you do is what?
Research.
So you start researching
Yes.
just whatever it is that you talked about. in the
So
brief.
whatever the brief was, whatever I got to
Okay.
start doing,
Researching.
start reading, start going online. That's what I would do.
What would you do?
As he gives himself more time.
Drum roll.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, you think of something while I do mine. First thing I do is, check this one. As soon as you hang up, boom, hang up, draft an email with exactly what you talked about.
Oh,
Just
That's a
draft
good
it
this
up.
is good.
Draft
This
it
is
up,
good.
boys. Learn something.
You might learn something.
All right, so that's what I would do. Draft up exactly what you talked about and shoot it back to him and be like,
This
just
is
wanted
good.
to check in with you that this is what we talked about so that it's like set in stone, time stamped, and then you
This
can go
is what I
forward.
heard. This is what I'm
This is
going.
what I heard. This is what I'm gonna do.
So what was it? It's this is what I heard. This is what I'm going to do.
And I just want to make sure that we're
Yeah.
on the
We're on the
So
same
there's
page.
no-
I heard what you're putting down, picking up what you're
Ah,
putting
yeah.
down type thing.
Yes, that's
So-
a really good answer.
Matthew talked about that.
Yes, he did.
So, Jonah,
Anything to add?
You got
Nah, I
something?
have nothing to add,
No?
yeah.
Great.
Okay, moving on. I want to work for Blind. What am I supposed to do?
Buy a shirt, first of all. No.
I would say, What would you say?
that?
I would say
Inspiring.
that if you want to work for Blind, have you heard of the Titanic? Because
I would say that there,
That ship
as
has
the
sailed.
future goes further, Blind gets further away. So we are trying to get out of the client space and focus more on the future. So, but we still have people here from Blind side. So it's not impossible for you to get in on the Blind side. I would just be saying it's harder because we're not necessarily hiring for that.
Yeah, we're hiring for a future.
do you
We're
think
hiring
he
for the
meant the
future.
future and he said Blind?
No, and we'll answer that. So we'll
What's
do that
that?
one next.
Okay.
So,
But I
should we
want,
just-
if you want to work for Blind, I would say create the work that we do to get on our radar.
I want
That's
to
what I
work
would
for
say.
yeah,
Blind.
be valuable to us.
That's what Chris always says, right?
Yeah.
If you want to look at our website, a Blind's website, and make work that looks just like that, and that's, I think, what Chris would say.
Yeah, have a personality and do similar work to
But
us.
let's say, we don't know about that world, so I don't want to give advice on
Right.
that.
So
really.
grain of
So
salt.
Don't
with
listen to
mostly
me.
everything we say
yeah,
today.
Yeah.
Okay. So how can I join you guys? That is a great.
Us three, or
Yeah, that's you guys. We're dudes that work here.
well, you got to be cool first of all.
Yeah, you got to be cool. I would say you have to live in the area of Los Angeles, and you have to be hardworking, and you have to create a video to get on the radar of the video team because they didn't look at my resume. I know they didn't look. I looked at Jonah's resume, but it was not a determining factor. We were looking at everybody who submitted, and when Jonah's application came through, we looked at his videos, and then I just wanted to see where he went to school, basically, but that didn't mean anything. Matthew didn't look at my resume. So resumes mean nothing here. Create good piece of content and share it with us.
Yeah, that's something you guys both have in common. Actually, all three of us have that in common. That the reason we work here and got this opportunity is because of a video we made.
Yeah, that's true.
That's so. If you can make something that one of the, I don't know, what am I trying to
Anybody,
say?
really. Anybody that can get it on a creative director's radar. So Matthew, if you can get it to Matthew, if you can get it to me, and I can get it to Matthew if I like it enough. You have to be creative in the way that you get your video seen. And
for sure.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about this for a second. Like, now we kind of know what direction the future is going in and what kind of people we need, what kind of tasks are important here. So, like, how can I join you guys? Well, if you're a guy that just kind of moves gear around, maybe we got plenty of those. But, like, if you can write and produce content that can teach someone something in an entertaining way, that would be good.
I would say you have to be multifaceted. So if you look at Matthew, he's a creative director here, but he's also a host on the show. If you look at Ben, he's our finance guy, but he's also a host on the show. So being able to be on the show and being able to be a personality as well as doing your normal job is the quickest way to get hired here. So find something that we're not doing well, do it, and then also be able to speak well on camera And if you can't do any of those things, write and produce and do motion graphics and shoot us a video kind of like that, I would say, would be my advice.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I feel like there's more, but I don't know.
Reiterating what you said. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Can we work as remote interns?
You sure can.
You sure can.
So there are 2 people right now that are full-time, I would say, that work for us. There's Alex and there's Elle. They both run our social media and our ad campaigns, and they do a lot of email and marketing, working with Ben and Greg and Matthew. And they are in, where is Alex from? Romania, and Elle's in Vancouver. So great opportunity right there. And I know we actually have more employees.
There's other teammates
Yeah,
in the Philippines. There's some Matthew
Yeah,
works with
so
them,
we have other people scattered, but I know of Elle and Alex for sure. So,
But that's something else I want to kind of say is like, I mean, if you, what is it? Can we work as remote interns? You sure can work as a remote intern, and you should hit me up if you are good and you can actually do something useful. Then hit me up, and because I was thinking about like, there's a lot of stuff around here that needs doing. So if you could help me do it, that would be great. I'll put in a good word for you. So,
all right.
We'll see. I mean, whatever. Next
right.
question.
So now we're going to turn it to you guys in the chat. So if you guys have your questions, drop them right now, and we'll start to rapid fire answer them.
Yeah,
There was one from Tanya. She asked about our daily routine here since it seems super relaxed. So I'll just kind of briefly go over that.
What are you guys doing?
Hey,
geez.
Chris. Oh,
God.
jeez. Oh, man.
God.
The guy came in right at the
Wrapping
tail
it up,
end.
wrap-
What are you guys doing here?
Just
we're
hanging
doing
out and do a little show,
We're
dude.
doing a little show.
For 42 participants.
A whopping 42.
Oh, man.
42. It's like I sneeze and we get 42. You guys
wow.
are 42.
Well,
Ooh.
hey, this is
All
our
right.
first one. Why
I
don't
didn't
you
even
just be
notice.
proud of it?
You tuning in? All right, tuning in.
43.
Did you guys?
You're making it go down, Chris.
Am I making it go down? You guys? Did
Oh,
you have
look,
more
the
to do?
chat's-
They're doing an awesome job. Sure
Thank
they
you.
are.
Thank
Sure
you,
they are,
Peter.
Peter. Sure they are. Sneeze already. Hoops. Okay. Let me bring some people in. Can you guys even see yourselves here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Small HD.
All right. What are we doing? Are we gonna
We're
wrap
just
up the show?
we're
at the
just
perfect
wrapping
time.
up. So we're
Okay, so let me watch you guys do your thing.
all right.
Ooh.
So we're answering questions from the live chat now. Just getting
Just continue on. Ignore me.
yeah. So okay. So the daily routine here. So it's kind of loose, but if there are meetings in the morning, the usual start is around 10:30. So we're required to be in those meetings and be present, or be able to video call in, and then from there we'll kind of lay out our week and kind of let everybody know with some visibility what we're going to be doing that week. And then throughout the week, it's kind of not a hard out at 7, but some people leave at 7. Us 3, we choose to work here late and kind of sit around, play ping pong, play music, relax. It's definitely a fluid situation, but I would say anywhere from 10 to 7:30 is the normal office hours, Monday through Friday.
Yep.
We have lunch from 1 to 2. Yeah, it's a pretty normal office environment. We do try to keep it relaxed. We play music, we have ping pong, we have foosball. It's kind of a normal thing.
Yeah, pretty
So-
normal.
How do you get more interaction on Behance?
What?
That's a question.
Oh, I
how do
thought
you
you said something else.
how do you get more interaction on Behance?
I don't even know what Behance really
It's
is.
a portfolio website for graphic designers.
I don't know.
Just move on.
Not our
Move
department.
on.
So we got a
Dude.
question from Tanya. Do you guys feel like you don't see the final edit like everyone else does because you've been looking at it for so long, for way too long?
Yeah.
By the way, I love you guys. Well, we love you. Oh, the Young Guns. Sorry.
whoa, take it easy there.
Maybe love us. Anyways, yeah, that's actually a huge challenge for us because sometimes we'll spend close to a week, maybe longer on a long form edit, where it's really hard for us to look at it objectively and kind of look at it with fresh eyes. So one of the things that helps me is taking a break, working on something else, and then coming back and looking at it. And that is a good way for me to say with fresh eyes after I've taken a break.
Yeah.
I like asking these guys for feedback on it. And it's weird. It's a double-edged sword asking for feedback because, like, you're right. I've been looking at it. I have no objective idea how to make this better. So I show it to them. And then they say things. And my immediate gut reaction is, I hate you for criticizing my video. It's perfect the way it is. But so just ask someone for help. That's what I do. Feedback. Just what do you think, you know?
All right. Who's the ping pong champ?
I am.
That would be Aaron.
Simple answer to that because I've been here the longest.
I challenge him every single night at
And
around
he loses.
7:05, and I have a terrible record. We keep score. I am not doing so well.
I'm looking for a bit like a better challenge here, but We don't really play ping pong anymore, so kind of sucks.
It's tough.
More questions.
Where can I apply to oversee a job with you as a photographer? Or overseas job. God, I can't read.
Where can I apply overseas job? I don't think we need photographers because we can do that. But I mean,
I'm looking over here. So,
VR. So we used to have an intern called Leo, who is huge in the VR space.
super smart guy.
One of the smartest guys I've ever met.
Funny too.
I love Leo. And he was super into VR, and he gave us a lot of tips and a lot of insight on that. But I would say that's something far into the future, and we're kind of looking in smaller bites right now.
That's two in the future for the future.
Yeah.
I feel like it's time to wrap this up unless there's a good question there, Jonah.
well, back to the topic of free time, Christian asks, have you ever thought about creating something together as a team that could help both the future brand
Dude, you
and
are-
your own personal
That's the
brand?
best
This
question.
is exactly
best
what we're
question
talking about today, dude.
So today at lunch, we were kind of discussing what should we be doing since we stay after at 7:00.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of goes home. We kind of stay and we kind of work on our personal projects.
Mm.
But we were kind of saying, what if we shifted every night working on our personal projects to working on a cool kind of high energy new motion graphics video that
Just
helps you teach something.
A Vox style video.
A
But
Vox
instead
style.
of individually working on our own videos, we come together and
Yeah.
work together.
And we all help produce it, and I'll do the editing and the shooting, and we kind of use our three brains and our three abilities to do this one thing. So that is something, actually, I think we're going to do it tonight, is going to be our first kind of lay the groundwork. Well, yeah.
Soon we'll
Well,
get
I
going.
kind of want to do
don't know about tonight. but
Okay, well,
we'll see.
all right. So that kind of wraps that up. We want to keep this on time. It's 6:02.
Let's wrap it.
Dude, I'm
So-
done. Keep going.
I just
This Ecuador video? Oh,
yeah, so
Neon Nation.
okay, so if you guys want to get in touch with us, first of all, I just want to say thank you. So thank you to everybody that showed up. This was a tough experience for me to like be
Oh,
on
man.
camera and
Yeah,
kind
for
of
us-
talk
Me too.
for
honestly,
like
yeah.
20 minutes with these guys. But I want to thank these guys. I want to thank you guys for being there. This was really fun for me.
I should have put thank y'all.
Yeah, so thank y'all. But thank
Yeah,
you.
y'all.
Here's our Instagram handles if you guys want to get in touch with us. That's probably the best way is Instagram. So if you guys want to have a follow-up question or anything like that, I'm sure we'd be happy to answer. And without further ado, thank you.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye. How
Yeah,
do we-
if you have any questions that we didn't get to, I suggest you reach out to us
Yeah.
and we can answer them. Yeah.
Okay. How do we end this thing now?
Just end it. We're
I
done.
can do this little
Stop.
number.
Stop share. Are we
Is it-
done?
Are we done?
No, we're not done yet.
We're not done
Oh
yet.
my gosh.
Oh, jeez. First time.
We need an outro next time. Some music. Music playing.
This is what it's like. This is
Sweat
the real
bullets,
thing.
dude. Is
Real
it over
thing.
yet?
No,
Is
we're not
it-
done yet.
Jeez,
I want to let them
dude.
see the real thing.
No, dude, come on, to kill it, man. We've been doing the real thing for an hour.
Bye.
All right. See you guys.
Tell me it's over.
It's over.
Oh my god, that was brutal.
I'm going home.
What did I even say, dude? I don't even know what I said.
Get me out of here.